been going on for more than 2,000 years, and it continues to this day. What am I talking about? I'm talking about what is commonly called becoming a Christian. Since the days of the New Testament, people have gone to church or just to their knees and asked Jesus to become Lord of their life. Today, we're asking the big questions. Why did you do it? Why did you become a Christian? And why do you believe? And do you still believe today? Please welcome our first guest, Roy Black. Roy, what's your story? How did you get saved?
Well, I grew up in the church, went to Sunday school, always listening, but never really believing until one day in college. It was the day of the big anatomy final. I didn't study. So I got on my knees and I told God, if He helped me pass, I'd give Him my life and even go on the mission field.
So what happened? Did you pass?
Yeah, I passed all right. Next thing I knew, I was on my way to Africa to deliver medical exams in the jungle, which is not what I had planned. I wanted to be a plastic surgeon in the Beverly Hills. Is that so wrong?
I think I'll leave that between you and God. Let's welcome our next guest, Emma Brown. Emma, why did you become a Christian?
Well, I was never really raised in church and never even had the desire to go until one day I went with my good friend Caroline and we met this guy named Gabe. He was such a sweetie. And the moment I laid eyes on him, I know we would one day have the most beautiful children in the world. But Gabe was a devout Christian, and since he would only date other Christian girls, I knew that God was just wanting me to accept him so that Gabe and I could get together.
So you accepted Christ, and how did it turn out with Gabe?
Well, one day we went to the coffee shop to talk about the Bible, and Gabe leaned over and asked me if he could ask me something. I told him he could ask me anything he wanted.
Well, what did he ask?
He wanted to know if Caroline liked him back. The moron!
Well, true enough. I'm sorry to hear that. But, so you accepted Christ, but you didn't get the guy.
Right. Well, Caroline said that if it wasn't Gabe, God had someone even better in mind. But God's taking His dear sweet time introducing us. I mean, come on, I've done my part, haven't I?
True enough. Thank you for your candor. Let's welcome our next guest, Bob Torvey. Bob, you've been a Christian now for 2 years. Why did you do it?
About 2 years ago, I was in Office Depot and I was rummaging around and walked by this little cart of inspirational books, you know, like Who Cut the Cheese and The 7 Habits of the Dwarves, something like that. Anyway, I saw this one called The Prayer of Jabez. I think that's what it was called. Anyway, the author of the book said that if I was to pray one tiny little prayer, God would bless me like crazy.
So you signed up for the blessing.
Oh, you bet I did. I mean, the stories he was telling, who wouldn't?
And did God bless you?
Not unless you count the countless number of people that keep asking me for money. I mean, a rich guy like me joins a church and every small, tiny, little bitty ministry wants a piece of my money.
Well, did you give them any?
I give the 10% like the Bible and the preachers ask. And I haven't seen a dime of that in return. You know, except for the tax break I get every April.
Fascinating. Let's bring out our next guest, Hannah Spencer. Hannah, tell us your story.
Well, I wasn't raised in church, but my grandmother was a very strong believer. And she was my hero, and I was so close to her. Well, then she got really sick and wound up in the hospital. I was so terrified of losing her, but she told me to have faith. She led me to start praying, and I eventually accepted Christ myself. But then, the very next day, my grandmother died.
But she left her faith with you.
No, not at all. My faith died with her. My grandmother believed that God would heal her and that she would live. He let her down, and that is not the kind of God I can serve.
That is a very painful story. Let's bring out our final guest, Angela Hart. We've heard a lot of amazing stories today, Angela. Would you tell us yours?
Well, there's nothing really that amazing about my story. I got saved whenever I was in high school. And I didn't really know much about God until I started going to this Bible study.
Let me guess, the guy leading it was hot.
No, not really. He was nice and everything, but he wasn't the real reason why I went. At first it was all out of curiosity. But once I started to know all these things about God, the more I wanted to know.
So you fell for the blessings too?
No.
He helped you pass a test?
No, not really. I mean, think about it. This is our Creator, the one who's forgiven us of all of our sins. How can I react in any other way except to give him my life?
So you didn't go for the blessings?
No.
You didn't want anything out of it? You just believed because of who he is?
Yes, I did.
You're going to feel awfully stupid when you get nothing in return.
Nothing. He's given me a relationship with himself. What more can I ask for?